Hi everyone, how are you all? It's January and I thought I would dive in today about what is truth in regards to spiritual bypassing. How do we perceive truth in our everyday life, especially as spiritualists? And maybe even if you work in that profession, there is this thing called spiritual bypassing. I would actually see it as an occupational hazard, but also when you're just practicing spirituality to your own development for your own good. So, what is it and why should we talk about it? Spiritual bypassing is basically our initial tendency when we just discover spirituality is extremely common to explain everything we face in life, especially the downsides, heavy emotional responses, trauma, anything we face in life that is not light, positive, good, happy place with, oh, this is a learning, these are the energies in the field, don't worry about your health. I'm not dealing with this, I go meditate. Yeah, so some people really say meditation is only a form of escapism. And yes, it can have this tendency for some, maybe, or even I would actually say for everyone of us, every now and then, we are victims of spiritual bypassing. So, why is it unhealthy? You see, when we do not deal with the everyday emotions, we do not deal with the deepest and most vulnerable sides of ourselves before we transform it, before we integrate it, we have not learned the lesson fully, or we have not really looked at the thing fully. And we cannot ignore it because it will always hunt you back. So, why we are here on earth is to deal with these things first and foremost. So, you can have a good life, a spiritually good life, without being spiritual at all or religious, by the way. Spiritual bypassing is also referring to religion. So when when you grow up in a household that is very religious, Catholic, whatever, and people will always tend to explain everything with scripture, that is spiritual bypassing as well, or use the scripture as an excuse to not do things, or do things. You know what I mean. So even then, spiritual bypassing is a topic, and you can actually have a wonderful life dealing with the emotions, being just a human being without regarding this as being spiritual, because you then deal very first and foremost with the emotions at hand and don't even think about anything abstract or fundamentally different to what you experience. The best teacher, actually, I'd say, is the present moment. Just stay in the now and see what is presenting itself. There will be the moment when you have actually dealt with an emotion, a situation deeply enough, honest enough, long enough, where you feel you have integrated and transformed it. And then in hindsight, you will be able to say, this was a lesson. But when I remember my own awakening, and I think in the first year, everyone is prone to be a hazard of this bypassing, is when everything was so bright and golden suddenly, because I always knew no matter how bad my day would be, I could always fall back on my newfound spirituality. And everything was brilliant, and I could meditate, and I did have visions. And oh, this is a wonderful example, by the way, visions and gifts. I go to the spiritual group, and afterwards, it is very common in any spiritual gathering, actually, or if you just watch a video on YouTube, to read through the comments and people will talk about their visions, personal transformative experiences right here, their gifts, basically. And I want to say that while it is all wonderful that some people have and experience that, it is just as wonderful if you are not there yet, if you will never experience this in your life. It does not make you less spiritual, less gifted, You do have a third eye, nevertheless. I personally think you just experience the world differently. Spirituality maybe is even more anchored in you, and you do not have to project it as an outward experience. It is just not your way of speaking, like, yeah, you could say. And what I really see is that there is a divide. It is not an inclusive thing anymore when you speak in a group like that about your own personal experiences. It can be if everyone has the same experience, or if you're very mature and confident in yourself and you do not have a core wound around trust, confidence, self worth, you can easily say, oh, wonderful for them. That's great, interesting. Yeah, but that's untouched by who I am. But there are people who have these wounds, and I want to really back them up here and also kind of raise awareness of what it does to them. It does not make you more spiritual if you have these experiences. And I think it is very rare that people actually have super transformative experience in their lives over and over again. So some may be exaggerated, some may even be untrue. We come to truth and what it is in a moment. But I want you to really be confident in who you are. And you do not have to book any awakening course. You do not have to book any ascension activation course or whatever. You will not speak light language overnight. That, yeah, it does happen, but it does not happen through something you have to pay for. Spirit does not work that way. You will be activated if you wish by yourself, by a moment in your life that will automatically pull the triggers and remember, believe, basically let go of these restrictions that inhabit you from speaking something or being something or perceiving something. But life on earth, first and foremost, can be lived as a human being without any of these things, and it does not make you less spiritual. So please maybe separate the idea of I have to have those supernatural gifts, I have to see or have dream visitations by loved ones or have close contact to the divine, ascended master speaking to me at night, consciously, going on ships or whatever it is, out of body experiences. Some people can learn to go there via their third eye. That is still something different than having a real life experience, like I see some loved one that has passed with my physical eye. I have a physical encounter in this life. That's something completely different. And I want to say that this is extremely, extremely rare. It's not happening to a great many people. The other thing that you have a very clear and unblocked third eye will lead to you being a channel, speaking light language and stuff like that. So still, if you come on earth and you have a, let's say, a blocked third eye, meaning that you do not access these gifts very easily, or you have not yet discovered how spirituality works through you and with you, then this is just a wonderful but separate and different path. You do not have to be the same as everyone else. And please honor those people. Please honor yourself if you are one of those people who just work different or whose spirituality just works through differently. They are not less spiritual advanced. They are not less important. They are not less awakened. They are not less chosen. I hate this word, basically, the chosen ones, the new earth that consists only of the chosen ones. This is completely bullshit in my eye. Spirit will leave no one behind, none of you. So, what is truth then? What is spiritual bypassing in regards to truth? I want you to listen to a wonderful channeling I did a while ago. It was kind of an introductory speech to a client's channeling. And they went on about truth and what it is and how we perceive it and how wonderful it is that through spirituality, we kind of deal more with overall perspectives or the higher perspective, if you want. And how does it all fit together? Have a look. It is very helpful for you as a reflective fractal, we will say, to really pierce through all the truth you can take on and discover that there is only one side of truth you can see. And yet, when you have transcended one, you will find that another truth is exactly the same value of the truth before. Yeah, it is in fact an aspect of the truth you have discovered before. And even if they do not seem connected at this time, they have a connection that you will or should be able to discover later on. So all that is true, please know, is connected ultimately. All that is not true will fall away naturally. Truth is a stable vibration. If as much circumstance supports something to be holding true, to come into the presence of truth, to be true, to be not a lie, to be not untrue, then it is a stable thing. If there is not enough upholding facts, circumstance, naturally the thing is untrue. Naturally it is unstable. It will not hold. It will fall away. For you all on earth, it is so important to see that the bigger picture always or most often shows a different picture than when you look at it so closely from inside. As a human in your life, on day Friday, at the 5th hour, in your home, in the body, what you deem true, what you deem bad or good, might be something completely different than what we see. Because when we see the all, we see the light plowing its way through the dark mud. And the light always wins. On earth, the light always wins, even if it does not seem like it from up close. So take heart and go on in asking. Welcome back. So what really resonated here with me was that they said, truth is not one thing. Truth is also a stable vibration. However, truth is not one thing. And truth is what you experience, and truth is what I experience. And these must already be two things because we perceive the world in a unique way, from a unique standpoint, within a unique role. And even if you have a brother or sister lives in the same street as you, does maybe the same work as you, you still have completely different experiences on this earth. Because you are different people, right? You live separation, you live duality on earth to experience polarity in unity. And spiritual bypassing must be something we still remember when dealing with our own spiritual advancement, with our own inner work, and also with our traumas as human beings. So while we experience every day relationships that can be difficult or situations that can be difficult, and it's good to have the spiritual outlook on life and try to find the higher perspective, really take an honest look. I want to encourage you here, and I will say that I will do that myself, more focused in this year. Take an honest look and let's just really define ourselves. Where do we use spirituality or misuse spirituality maybe to not have to look at our core wounds? What are your core wounds, basically? That is also very interesting to know. Maybe write down what you already know, what you could perceive throughout your life, and what have you gathered. And then really look, when do I use spirituality for something else than just for the beauty of it? When do I ground myself? And do I use the word grounding when I actually want switching off? Do I use the word I go to meditation, grounding, stabilizing, when I actually want to not look at something or forget something? Do I use my spiritual gifts for more egotistical or narcissistic reasons, to feel good, to feel special? And why is that I need to feel special or, different than the rest? Maybe I need to look at this. Maybe I need to deal with something that is concerned with my self-worth. Yeah, be honest with yourself. Find your own truth. So this is where truth and spiritual bypassing for me becomes one, or two sides of the same coin if you want. Please let me know, have you ever thought about this topic before? How do you integrate spirituality in your own life? And what is your truth in all of this? I'd love to know. By the way, January has just begun. If you want to get ahead on the energies and refocus your own life a bit, I have really good discounts for all private readings in January. And if you want, check it out on my Calendly or my website. I see you next week and I wish you well.